welcome to 104 Days, Scot Radio's only show for all things Phineas and Ferb. I am your host, Miranda Carpe Diem Grubb, here with my special guest star for this episode, Ben Schneider!
What's up, guys?
Ben, tell us a little bit about yourself while you're on the show.
I'm a sophomore here at Gordon, and also a big fan of Phineas and Ferb. It was one of my favorite shows growing up as a kid, so I'm very happy to be here.
Nice, and we're happy to have you, Ben. And I know what you're thinking. Aren't you a little old to be running a radio show about cartoons? And I would say yes. Yes, I am. All right, so basically how 104 Days works is we're going to be talking about one episode of Phineas and Ferb per episode of the radio show, covering a couple episodes from each season to make sure it's fair. And then they're going to be mostly chronological, but when holidays roll around, like Halloween and Christmas, we're going to be focusing on the Halloween and Christmas episodes of Phineas and Ferb. So I'm super excited for that. It'll be me, your host, along with some guest stars. And the episodes are mostly chosen by me based on, like, importance to the Phineas and Ferb canon, and also some of my personal favorites. Like, some episodes are just really good. You can't skip them. All right, and we'll be covering fan theories and trivia, analyzing all the best parts of the episodes chosen, and we will be taking most of our material from the Phineas and Ferb wiki. If you've not seen it or heard of it before, I recommend checking it out. It's a super cool site. I used to be really active on it, which is kind of funny. All right, so, Ben, questions for you. When did you first start watching Phineas and Ferb?
I first started watching Phineas and Ferb probably around 4th grade. So this would be like 2008, 2009, so maybe about a year after the show first came out. And I didn't follow it regularly. I just kind of watched it when it was on, so I don't know too much about which show came in what chronological order or anything, but it was definitely a fun show and a big part of my childhood.
Oh man, same. I actually started watching around the same time, which is kind of funny. The first episode I ever saw, my family was in Disney World and we were staying at a hotel, and me and my sister were with our grandparents, and we were supposed to be sleeping and the lights were off, but the TV was on and they were showing, I don't even remember what episode it was, but I loved it so much. And my grandparents would like turn it down and then leave the room so we could sleep. And then I would like sneak out of bed and like turn it back up, because I really wanted to be watching the show. It's so good. I haven't really stopped watching ever since. So, more questions. Do you have a particular favorite episode, Ben?
Well, I'm a big motorsports fan, so I guess by default it kind of has to be Live and Let Drive from season 4. And that's
Solid
about
episode.
The Montevideo Grand Prix, which is a spoof on the Monaco Grand Prix. And I guess Doofenshmirtz kind of tries to sabotage the race there, so it's a great episode.
Solid. Yeah, I totally agree. I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, yeah, nice lead-in, actually. Ben's got a racing show also on Scot Radio.
Yes, which you can listen to Tuesdays from 7:30 to 8 here on Scot Radio. Shameless plug.
Listen to Ben's show. It's really good.
It's called The Photo Finish.
All right. Do you have a particular favorite character?
I'm tempted to go with Doofenshmirtz.
Okay.
Just because, he's supposed to be this, evil villain, and really ends up kind of
he's just
being
not
perfectly harmless and, just there for comic relief.
Yeah.
So he's a really, really funny, great guy.
Honestly, yeah. And I also like that he's actually voiced by one of the creators of the show, which it's just hysterical. I think always been partial to Ferb. I don't know what it was, probably the accent. But also Perry's definitely been a favorite of mine for a while. I have a stuffed animal, Perry the Platypus, and I was gonna bring him in, and I totally forgot to. So we will definitely have Perry the Platypus as a guest star on next week's episode. So don't forget, Fridays at 9 p.m., Scot Radio. Anyway, let's see what else we got. Ben, you have a favorite song from Phineas and Ferb? This is a trickier question.
Yeah, I don't know. Can I go with the jingle? It's probably the Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated jingle.
That's fantastic.
And all the variations that they had in the various
so
episodes.
Good. Yes. We should just spend a segment just talking about the different variations of the Doof jingle. Yeah. That's hysterical.
After Hours, his Walk to the Diner, all sorts of
stuff.
Yes!
Oh my god, the one where he is like an aluminum siding company. That's a good one. Okay, I don't know if we've got time to just talk about jingles, but maybe another episode. You'll have to come back on the show. See, there you go. Now you're trapped. Anyway, Any particular reason why you love Phineas and Ferb specifically? Like, what makes it such a good show to you?
Well, it's really funny. And I guess Nickelodeon's big cartoon is SpongeBob, right? And SpongeBob's really funny because it's stupid in a lot of ways, and there's I don't know. I feel like Phineas and Ferb kind of creates that same level of humor without being
better.
Without being nearly as flat out ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think Phineas and Ferb personally. I mean, I love everything about Phineas and Ferb. That's why I have a show about it. But it's just so clever, you know? You can really tell the writers work so hard to put, like, just these little details in and, like, just the stuff in the background, you know, stuff you don't... Like the jingles, for example, you know? Like, they changed the jingle for the evil villain when he's doing something else besides being evil. What other show does that, you know? And it's just so quirky and fun. I freaking love this show. Oh, my goodness. I'm a little disappointed this show's only a half hour long. Anyway. And, you know, like... There's just so much stuff. There's so much good stuff about it. They've got good messages. They've got, like, they work really hard to incorporate diversity with the characters. They're just ridiculously creative. Name one other show with a platypus secret agent.
You can't.
You can't. You just can't. There isn't one. So that's what makes Phineas and Ferb the best, honestly. So, anyway, back to what we should be talking about. Today's episode, we will be talking about the series premiere, which is simply just titled Roller Coaster. Some fun facts about it. It was the first ever episode of Phineas and Ferb, but it was not the pilot. There was a slightly tweaked version of it that Dan Povenmire and Swampy Marsh used to pitch to Disney. It also premiered on August 17th, 2007. That's actually the day before my birthday. That's funny. And 10.8 million people watched the premiere when it first came out. It's crazy.
Yeah, especially for cable.
I know, right?
That's an incredible number.
Ben, you want to give us the basic rundown, what happens in the episode?
Sure. So Phineas and Ferb construct a roller coaster from their backyard out to the whole city for themselves and the neighborhood kids. And meanwhile, Perry the Platypus attempts to thwart Dr. Doofenshmirtz's evil plan to reverse the rotation of the Earth.
It's a solid premise. It's fantastic. And then later in the next season, season 2, they actually go back and redo this same episode, but as a musical. And that's actually probably one of my personal favorite episodes is Roller Coaster, the musical, because they just take all the same plot, even the same dialogue, but they just like work songs into it. And it's just hysterical. I love it so much. Speaking of that, this is actually one of the few songs, one of the few episodes that does not have a song in it, which is partially why they chose it for Roller Coaster. You know, they want to make a musical episode. Let's do an episode without any songs. That makes perfect sense. Some other fun trivia facts. It doesn't have the Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated jingle.
And I watched the episode to prepare for this show, and I hadn't seen it in a while. I was thinking to myself, where's the jingle?
Where's the jingle? Bring it in. I guess they just hadn't thought of it as a running gag yet. Also, 2 Fireside Girls, Katie and Ginger, make cameos in this episode. Fun fact. One of the first lines in the episode, Phineas is talking about how, he says, I, for one, am starting to get bored, and boredom is something up with which I will not put. And it's a funny line, but my favorite part about this line is that it's actually a take-off on a quotation from Winston Churchill, who originally said it as ending a sentence with a preposition is something up with which I will not put, which is because put is a preposition. Haha, it's clever.
I'm an English minor, so I know all about it.
Okay, sorry,
You're not
Ben.
supposed to do that. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you there.
No, you're fine.
Some more fun facts about this episode. This is the first episode where Doofenshmirtz's invention does not end with the inator suffix. It's, I don't know what he calls it. I forgot. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, if you can find it, Ben, that'd be great, but I'm gonna keep moving on. Like I said, there are no songs in this episode, but Perry the Platypus's theme song is played during the credits, making it the only episode that plays a song in the credits that wasn't actually in the episode. So that's very interesting. I think it was just a way to like kind of reinforce Perry as a character, because it's a little weird. Like, this is the side plot that their pet is actually a secret agent. So I don't know. It kind of gives some more depth to him, I guess, having him have a cool theme song.
I'm not sure that Deuce invention actually has a name in this episode.
Does it really?
Yeah, I'm just looking through it. Just talks about he's bought the tinfoil.
Tinfoil. Oh, it's called the magnetism magnifier.
There it is. Okay, magnetism
magnitism
magnifier. There
yeah, and then I think in Roller Coaster the Musical, they kind of make a joke about that. He's like, at this time, it's called the magnetism magnificanator. And it's going to work because I added the "inator" to the end of it. You know, like, it's funny. What else we got? Some more of the running jokes from this episode. For example, the Ferb quote. He actually has a couple of lines in this episode, which is interesting because it's, the first episode. They're talking about Perry right near the end of it, and Ferb says, "They're the only mammals to lay eggs." And it's funny because it's like, haha, Ferb doesn't talk, but that's actually not true. I don't know if you know this. I'm going to blow your mind, Ben. But platypuses are not the only mammals to lay eggs. I think, is it the echidna? Is also a mammal that lays eggs? What's the other one? I wrote down that it wasn't true and I should talk about it, but I didn't write down what the other mammal was.
I'm not much of a science guy.
Who lays
so
eggs? Did I blow your mind? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
There's the platypus.
I had no idea.
Blah, blah, blah.
I always assumed it was a platypus because of Phineas and Ferb.
Oh, okay, I was right. It's an echidna. There's two kinds of echidnas that lay eggs. Apparently not every echidna. They are the only monotremes that still exist. That's what a monotreme is a mammal that lays eggs. There's an episode, I think it's in season 3, but I could be wrong. Don't hold me to that. And it's called Misperceived Monotreme. And they get Perry mixed up with a different platypus. So that's a fun little play on that. One of my other favorite quotes, Phineas, they're in the process of building this roller coaster, and Phineas looks at it and he's like, we're going to need a blowtorch and some more peanut butter. It makes me laugh. And then there's actually a parallel to the Roller Coaster the Musical episode because in the song they sing, the song is called Roller Coaster while they're on it. There's a line that's like, with peanut butter and rubber snakes, and it's like, all the stuff that they need to build a roller coaster. And on the Phineas and Ferb wiki, this is an incorrect fact that they posted as a real fact, and I'm mad about it. On the Phineas and Ferb wiki that should know everything, they said that this is an error in the song because they don't mention peanut butter in the episode, but they do mention it in the original roller coaster episode. So I'm calling them out. If anybody listening, I should fix it. You're absolutely right, Ben.
Anybody can edit it. You should fix it.
I will do that after the show. I don't have time right now. So, hold me to that so I can fix them, call them out. Anyway. What other quotes? Do you have any favorite quotes from the episode, Ben?
Well, the Phineas one's really good.
That one's good.
I don't mean to steal yours, but
you want
that's, yeah. No, that's it. And Ferb's quote, I mean, I guess that's another running gag of a show, is Ferb usually just has 1, maybe 2 lines per episode. So it's always interesting to hear what he has to say and how that relates to what's transpired in the episode.
Yeah, I freaking love Ferb. Ferb is so great. It's funny though, because I am more of a Phineas. Like, I'm very extroverted and I love the project building and stuff. But Ferb's just the best, man. I wish I were best friends with Ferb.
Yeah. What does Phineas say? Something like he's more of a man of action.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Isabel asks, does your brother ever talk? Yeah.
So Isabel's like, does your stepbrother ever talk? He's like, Ferb, he's more of a man of action. That's so good. I love that bit. All right. I want to line up some more parallels from this first episode of Roller Coaster and then Roller Coaster the Musical. There's a bit where Candace goes to see her mom in the store and try and bust her brothers. And she's like, Mom, they're building this roller coaster and it's huge. She's like screaming, and then her mom's like, Candace, go. Do you want to go yell? I'm gonna be in the dairy section if you're gonna go yell at some cheese. And it's such a good line. And then in the Roller Coaster the Musical episode, they kind of like further on it. They like keep going, and they're like, would you like that, Candace? Would you like to yell at some cheese? And she's like, yeah, a little. And then there's a bit where she's like screaming in the dairy section, and it gets me every time. It's a good show, guys. I don't know if you know this. I could probably talk about this for hours.
Yeah, Candace isn't crazy at all.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. Oh, I found a line. I see your point, Candace. No crazy person would scream at a post like that. I'll be in the dairy section if you want to come yell at some cheese or anything. And then she leaves. But, it's good. This was also I mean, they obviously, since it was the first episode, it was the start of a lot of running gags. But one of my favorite running gags is like whenever they have a really tall invention, there's this little bird that's like, ah, ah, and then it crashes into it and falls. They did that right in the beginning when they're announcing the coolest coaster ever. And then the little bird's like, psh, yeah. Happy to provide sound effects for anybody at home. I'll do a dramatic reenactment of the episode. We'll just go through the whole transcript. There we go. You know, I could just start from the beginning and keep going. We're not gonna, though. I won't do that to you. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to talk about why did I pick this episode. I feel like it's kind of obvious. It's a great episode, first of all, and it's the first ever episode of Phineas and Ferb, and this is the first ever episode of 104 Days. Yay! Oh, and if you didn't get it by now, it's called 104 Days because that's the first line.
104 days of summer vacation.
Yeah, you got it. Nice job, Ben. So, why I picked this episode, it's the first episode ever. And it's, like I said, it's got so many parallels to Roller Coaster the Musical that it's just been kind of a running theme. You can really see in this episode how, like, you know, the writers are kind of getting their footing, like, what do we really want these characters to be like, you know, where's the show going to go from here? And I actually kind of think it's kind of funny, like, you can tell with the actors' voices, too. Like, Vincent Martella, who voices Phineas, and in this episode, his voice is a lot deeper than it sounds, like, than Phineas sounds in, like, the rest of the episodes. And it's just like, you know, it's just him kind of getting his footing, kind of like figuring out, what do I want this character to sound like? Who is Phineas really? You know, what's his personality like? And something interesting is in the pilot, the episode that they used to pitch to Disney, Phineas was a lot meaner. He was like super sassy, and he would like do like just like, I don't know, sass back at his mom and Candace all the time. And it's just, like, really funny how different that Phineas is than, like, the Phineas that we know and love and is, like, who wouldn't hurt a fly or snap at anyone or, like, really ever get upset. So
it's always interesting to go back and look at pilots and how different the characters are and what changes they made in between the pilot and actually putting the show on the air and as the show went on through all the seasons.
Mm-hmm. It's cool. Like, just the beginning and then, like, right at the end and how just different it is. Something I'd like to do is, like, you know, I know that they save these episodes, and they'll be on SoundCloud if you want to ever listen to it again, y'all listeners at home. I want to, like, go back and listen to this episode right as I'm recording for the last episode at, like, the end of December. It's going to be great. Yeah, it's just a solid all-around episode. It really is a good introduction to the show. Like, if you were to pick any episode at all to show your friend, like, if they've never seen Phineas and Ferb, this would be such a solid episode to pick, you know, because it's got everything you really need from an episode. It's just got, like, the crazy perfect invention, and it's got, like, the witty, clever side plot going on with Perry and Doofenshmirtz, and it's just, everything about it is witty and funny, and there's so many little gags, and it's like, I love this show so much. Anything you want to add to that, Ben? I feel like I'm talking like the whole time.
You can tell Miranda's really into it.
It's a good show, and I love it
but
a lot.
It is a really good show.
Yeah. Anyway, I've kind of run out of notes to go on, so we're going to have to just make something up, at least for the next 5 minutes, about what we want to talk about. So anyway, like I said, majority of the knowledge I'm getting from this episode, all the fun facts, all the quotes, getting off of the Phineas and Ferb wiki. So actually, if you, for future episodes, you want to follow along on the Phineas and Ferb wiki, we can do that. Also, if anyone's interested in, like, the upcoming schedule, I have it all planned out. Or, if you want to guest star on this show, email me at miranda.grubb@gordon.edu, and I will send you the Google Doc, and you can be a guest star on 104 Days. And next time, I promise, I will bring Perry the Platypus. It'll be great. We'll have a great time. So far, we have a lot of people signed up for guest stars, including Davis Mottarelli and my roommate, Sarah Welton-Lair. So, you know, big celebrities on campus, my roommate and the ACU writer. So, if you know who those people are, you should definitely also guest star on this show. It's going to be great.
Next week is still open.
Next week is still open. Yeah, we're going to be talking about, I'll just spoil it for y'all. we're going to be talking about one of my personal favorite episodes, and I say that about most episodes. One of my personal favorite episodes is called Flop Stars. It's the one where Phineas and Ferb form a band because they want to be a one-hit wonder, and it's got one of the most iconic Phineas and Ferb songs of all time, Gitchy Gitchy Goo. And I will see if they will let me play a bit from the song on the radio. All right. Super exciting. Cool. But anyway, that slot is still open. Feel free to email me if you want to talk about how awesome that episode is and how awesome that song is. So, yeah, we still got a couple other episodes. Yes. So, anyway, like I said, 104 Days will be running every Friday at from 9 to 9:30. ScotRaid.io. Scot Radio.
SCOTRAD.io.
Yep, there you go. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it. It's kind of a weird website. Anyway, yeah, there's a ton of other cool shows, including Ben's show. So, anyway, listen to Ben's show. Listen to my show. Listen to Scot Radio. Scot Radio is great for letting me have a Phineas and Ferb show. All right, so we've only got a couple minutes left. I'm going to stop babbling. Guess what time it is, Ben?
9:23.
It is 9:23, but it's also time for the Gaminator 3000-nator, which is not as cool as it sounds, but it's still going to be fun. Anyway, so you can't see it because this is a radio show, but I made this cool dice, or die, because that's the singular. And it's got a bunch of funny things that we can do on it. I'm not going to let you see them because it will spoil it in case we land on that one. But they're all Phineas and Ferb related. It's kind of just a bunch of silly things. So I'm going to roll the die, and we're going to, both of us, I won't make you do this by yourself, don't worry. Both of us are going to end up either doing a really bad impression or singing a song terribly. Both relating to Phineas and Ferb, because that's the point of the show. Would you like to roll the die?
Absolutely.
There you go, Ben. Right on the table. Excellent. Oh, it says sing a song from the episode. Well, that's dumb because there are no songs in this episode. Would you like to roll again? Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Oh, boy.
Doofenshmirtz impression. Ben, you got to go first, buddy. You already said he's your favorite character.
Oh, Perry the Platypus.
That's fantastic. Perry the Platypus. Ha! Perry the Platypus.
What an unexpected surprise.
By unexpected, I mean completely expected. That was fantastic. Thank you, Ben. I loved having you on the show. This has been such a fun time. I love being on the show. Oh my goodness, we got to have you come back. This has been solid. All right, I ran out of stuff to talk about, so I'm going to end a little bit early, but that's fine. We're going to work on it. Next episode's going to be a little bit more planned out, have a little more things to say. Don't worry about it. Like I said, we don't have guest star for next episode, so please email me if you are interested. That's miranda.grubb@gordon.edu. Anyway, this has been 104 Days. Remember to always seize the day, and don't forget to feed your platypus. I'm your host, Miranda Grubb, here with my guest star,
Ben Schneider.
And we are signing off. Thank you, Scot Radio.